Hi, thanks for joining us for another edition of Ask Spurrell CPA. Today we're talking about multitasking is a myth. So I have Laura here with me again. So Laura, how are you holding up and making these videos?
All right.
All right. Okay, I'm trying to get these accountants to open up. I'm doing my best here. So the quote that we have here today is Gary Keller quote is multitasking is merely the opportunity to screw up more than one thing at a time. And the statistic is that it takes an average of 23 minutes to reach productivity once we're interrupted. Once we get that text message, once we get a phone call, 23 minutes before we're at peak productivity again. So, and the stories we get, people, they've been led to believe that multitasking is a skill that should be celebrated and put on resumes, and it's the holy grail of productivity is multitasking. But all the science suggests that multitasking is the reason why we are not productive in the first place. So, Laura, what are the questions that you think these business owners that are thinking about the subject of multitasking should be asking?
When people think of an entrepreneur, do they think of multitasking?
Yeah, they think that entrepreneur is they're on the phone and then they're making a deal the other time and they're talking to an employee at the same time and they got a coffee in one hand and a clipboard in the other hand. They're doing this thing and that thing all at the same time, and they think that the entrepreneur, the successful entrepreneur, is the multitasker. The successful entrepreneur is not the multitasker. The successful entrepreneur is the one who's dedicated to focus, work on subjects over time.
How would you feel if you knew your doctor or pilot was multitasking?
So, yeah, we know the answer of why this is bad. So you just imagine if you went in and you looked in the cockpit of the guy who's flying the plane or the girl who's flying the plane, and you think that he's just checking his Snapchat on the day, and the steering wheel is just sitting there, not quite manned. He's checking his Snapchat. Or imagine the surgeon, Laura. Imagine if you had the surgeon, if you knew he was having a personal phone call while he was operating on you. Is that the guy that you want operating on you? It's not. Intrinsically, we know multitasking is bad. We know it makes us dumber, but yet we think it somehow makes us more productive. We're hypocritical in that way, and so we know multitasking reduces our productivity intrinsically. We know it reduces our intelligence intrinsically. It reduces our execution rate, but we need to face that fact and address it in regular business life.
What happens in real life when you try to interrupt real successful entrepreneurs?
Yeah, so if you try to interrupt real successful entrepreneurs, so what happens if I call up Warren Buffett right now? I'm going to run into a wall of gatekeepers and no one's going to let me talk to the guy. That's how it's going to work. So in real life, when you try to interrupt successful entrepreneurs, you don't get them. They hire people and put processes in place so you can't get them and you can't interrupt them. So when you look at the successful people, there's a reason why they're not being interrupted all the time. So we should take that with that's how those people are doing it, and that's why they're successful, is because they're putting processes in place so they can't get interrupted all the time.
What business did Gary Keller create, and why is that so important to this topic?
Yeah, so the quote that we have, the multitasking is merely the opportunity to screw up more than one thing at a time. It's from Gary Keller, and I didn't know this when I first read Gary Keller, that he started the largest real estate firm. And you think of real estate agents, you get that same myth as entrepreneurs. These are the guys that are super distracted all the time. They're on the phone 1 minute taking a call from someone, and someone else is asking them a question. They got a clipboard. They're walking through a house, doing a million things at a time. But he is the biggest proponent of focused, solitary, uninterrupted work, and he grew the largest real estate firm, which is the business that you would think that would go against that rationale. So maybe if there was a business that it should be multitasking, and it would be a real estate agent. Well, guess what? The guy who grew the largest real estate firm says you shouldn't get interrupted all the time.
Are people who think they are good multitaskers generally good at it?
Yeah. So here's the other fallacy. Some people think, well, that's not for me because I'm a really good multitasker. Well, they've actually run studies on people who think they're a good multitasker and people who think they're a bad multitasker. I'll save you the suspense. We're all bad at it. Some are slightly less bad than others, but it all makes us dramatically less intelligent when we're multitasking. But here's the real kick here, is the people who think they are good multitaskers are actually worse multitaskers than the people who just admit that I'm not a good multitasker. So, the takeaway is no one is good at multitasking, and the people who think they are good at it are worse than average. So I think that's the key takeaway there.
Should you work out of your inbox or have email notifications on all day?
No, do not work out of your inbox. I mean, if you work out of your inbox, you're going to spend all of your day, dealing with other people's priorities. Whether that's customers or your suppliers, you're going to deal with their priorities. You're not going to deal with the strategic priorities of the business. And there's no reason to have email notifications on all day. Do not have email notifications on all day. If your job is to check email, maybe you can have email notifications on. But I would suspect that most everybody watching this video, their sole job is not to check email. Their sole job is to run a business or deliver a product or service that the clients are going to be happy with. Don't have email notifications on all day. Have a set time that you're actually going to go and check those emails. That's the way to handle it, so we're not being, taking those 23 minutes to get refocused again.
Should your phone be giving you social media or other notifications?
Yeah, these are the kiss of death. You do not want to be getting every little Facebook message, notification update, Instagram, tweet. Your phone is going off and going off and going off. Most people, it's 23 minutes to reach peak productivity again. A lot of people never even get 23 minutes. They're just walking around in a constant reduced level of IQ because they're being continually interrupted all day. Shut off all those notifications. Shut them off. They are specifically designed to keep you addicted, not to keep you connected. The large social media programs, they consult with the same people who build casino machines. They make the noises, they make the sounds. They're designed to keep you addicted. They're not designed to keep you productive. Maybe you need a time in your business that you check what's going on in that social media, but it's not all day. You should not be doing it all day. You just will not accomplish as much.
Is it okay to let calls go to voicemail at certain times?
Yeah, 100%. It's okay to let a call go to voicemail. If you're working on that strategic objective that's really going to drive your business forward, that's going to double the amount of people that are calling in, that are inquiring about your business, or you're working on that strategic objective that's going to increase the level of performance. You're doing checklists and templates that are going to make your people more productive and make fewer mistakes. That's the one that you want to do. You can't just be taking phone calls and emails at all hours and ignoring those real strategic initiatives.
How do interruptions correlate to happiness?
So this is a little bit of a tidbit, and people think that, hey, I'm getting Facebook updates and I'm getting attention and I'm understanding what's going on. I get that initial endorphin rush when people actually click on messages and they see a response and they see an email. It does have a bit of an addictive component to it, and a lot of people get an initial rush from it. But really, it's been proven that the number of times that we're interrupted every day, the more we're interrupted, the less happy we are. And that's one thing that business owners, you're running a business is tough work. You have to work long hours, deal with a lot of tough situations. But what we can do is set up our day in such a way that we're limiting some of those interruptions. And although it might feel odd when you first start doing it, because you're probably a little addicted to it, actually getting those interruptions, they do provide that a little bit of endorphin rush. But actually, your overall level of happiness is negatively correlated with getting too many interruptions.
How do you help minimize interruptions on your team?
So on our team, it's important that team members, they need to collaborate, they need to coordinate. So in order for that to happen, often you have to put people on the same schedule. So in our office, we devote the morning times to that focused solitary work. And then the afternoon times, we're encouraging that collaboration, because if some people want to, collaborate in the morning and some people want to collaborate in the afternoon, well, guess what? Everybody is getting interrupted in the times when they want to do that focused solitary work. So if you can put everybody in that same schedule, and even schedule specific times that people have, time set aside to collaborate with another individual. So an employee can collaborate with their supervisor at this time or their teammate at that time. That's really going to help minimize those interruptions, is putting everybody on the same schedule and setting aside times that you're going to need to collaborate. And that would be the challenge and the recommendation is, if there's a person that you need to coordinate with regularly, rather than create an interruption, create a time that's set aside. That person has the confidence and the security knowing that that's actually set aside to to be there and provide that support, and then you're also going to minimize those interruptions. So that's what we have here today on the subject of multitasking. Thanks for joining us again. As always, hit the like and subscribe button so we can continue to deliver you tips on how to beat the odds at business. And if you have any other items that you'd like to address, please leave them in the comments below, and we'll be happy to address them in future videos. Thanks very much.